So if you're building with AI, you are wrestling with this one huge question. How much power do you actually give it? Too little and it's not that useful, but too much and it's a massive risk. Today we're going to explore a framework that helps answer that exact question. It's called the Lifecycle Lens, and it gives us a really clear way to think about AI, from the simple assistive tools all the way up to the really complex operational systems.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's our game plan. First, we'll start with the big picture. Why risk and authority are such a huge deal in AI right now. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of the framework itself, what it is, and just as important, what it isn't. We're going to explore the two main zones, the assistive and the operational realms, and take a really close look at that critical moment when you cross from one to the other. And then finally, we'll wrap it all up with how you can use this lens to build with real intention.
All right, let's kick things off with the why. With so many AI models and frameworks already out there, why do we need another one? Well, it turns out that a lot of them completely miss the real source of danger when we're building these incredibly powerful systems.
We've all seen this happen, right? A super promising AI project gets bogged down, or it just completely fails to live up to the hype. So what's the common thread? Well, it's often a failure to really grapple with the system's power, how to define it, and more importantly, how to control it.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. It's not the technology itself that's the problem. It's the unchecked authority we might accidentally give it. A lot of AI projects stumble because they just don't have the right guardrails in place from the very beginning.
So here it is, the full picture of the lifecycle lens. It maps out 7 distinct phases, moving from left to right. Now, what's really fascinating here are the concepts running along the top. As we move to the right, the AI's authority goes up. The blast radius, and that's just the potential impact if something goes wrong, it gets bigger. And reversibility, or how easy it is to undo something, that goes down. And right there in the middle, you see that critical authority boundary. We're going to walk through this whole map together.
But hold on. Before we jump into the details of each phase, there's a really crucial point we need to clear up. It is so easy to look at a diagram like this and think of it as a ladder you're supposed to climb. But that is a huge, and I mean critical, misconception.
And this slide right here highlights that key difference. This is not a maturity model, where the goal is to get to the highest level. No, it's a classification tool. The phases are just descriptions to help you understand what kind of system you're actually building. Phase 7 isn't somehow better than Phase 1, it just comes with a completely different and way bigger set of risks and responsibilities. So the real power of this whole thing is that it gives teams a common language. It lets the engineers, the product managers, and even the legal teams have a shared, concrete understanding of risk and responsibility and control before a single line of code is written. It's all about making sure everyone is on the exact same page from day one.
Okay, so let's start our journey way over on the left side of the lens, in what's called the assistive realm. Think of this space as where the AI acts like a helpful partner, giving you insights and info without ever taking the driver's seat.
Phase 1 is all about exploration. So imagine you're using an AI to summarize some huge, long research paper, or maybe to explain a complex scientific idea. The key here is that the output is purely informational. It's read-only. The AI isn't doing anything, it's just handing you data so you can make a better, more informed choice. The human is still 100% in control.
Now in Phase 2, the AI gets a little more sophisticated. It's kind of like a super powerful dashboard that's pulling in data from all over the place to give you a real-time view of what's happening. But again, it's a rearview mirror, not a steering wheel. It gives you incredible visibility, but the authority to act on that information, that still rests entirely with the human.
And this is a really important point to just pause on for a second. There is immense value to be found right here in these first 2 phases. Building a brilliant AI that gives you deep insights or a complete view of your operations, that's a huge win. Not every AI system needs to, or even should, move beyond this incredibly useful assistive role.
Okay, now we come to the most critical part of the entire framework, that line that separates the assistive from the operational. Crossing this boundary is a huge step that fundamentally changes the nature of your system and all the responsibilities that come with it.
Seriously, this is the moment a simple information tool starts to become an agent with real influence. It's where so many projects get into trouble, because they often cross this line without even realizing the full implications of what they've just done.
So Phase 3, dynamic replanning. That's the transition point. Here, the AI isn't just showing you raw data anymore, it's making recommendations that actively shape your priorities. And even if a human still has to click approve on the final decision, the system's guidance is now influencing their choice. This is where authority begins that subtle shift from the person to the machine, and it's the point where you absolutely must start designing for accountability.
Once you've crossed that authority boundary, you've officially entered the operational realm. And in here, the AI is no longer just an assistant. It's an active participant in your workflow. And with that participation comes the absolute, non-negotiable need for robust governance and control to manage all that increased risk. So let's just see how this plays out. In Phase 4, the system starts triggering workflows, so naturally you need controls to manage those actions. Then in Phase 5, it's reasoning across multiple applications, which makes that blast radius bigger, so you must have evidence of its logic. By Phase 6, it's embedding rules into the system's behavior, making rollback capabilities totally essential. And finally, in Phase 7, it's executing changes directly, which requires a complete audit trail, no exceptions. Each step up in authority demands a higher level of control.
So, now that we've got a clear picture of all the phases, how do we actually put this into practice? Well, the whole goal of this framework is to empower you to design with intention, and that also means understanding its limits.
It's so important to be crystal clear about how to use this. This is a tool for clarifying where responsibility lies and for accurately classifying your AI systems. It is not a justification for pushing to a later phase, and it is absolutely not a blanket approval for automation. Its real purpose is to force those hard, necessary questions early on, not to give you easy answers later.
And here's the payoff. When you use this framework the right way, when your team has a shared understanding that you're building, say, a Phase 4 system, the whole conversation about what controls you need becomes so much more predictable. You're not guessing anymore. You're engineering with a clear roadmap, and that clarity is what allows for safe and truly sustainable progress.
So as you go back to your own projects, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. That AI system you're building, is it assistive or is it operational? Because the answer to that will have a profound impact on how you design it, how you build it, and how you govern it. It's a question that changes everything.